Morning everybody, welcome back. Saturday in the shop here. I was not planning on being here today, but didn't really have a whole lot of wedding stuff to do this morning, so I figure may as well come in and see if I can't accomplish something. Don't know how long I'll be here today, and I really have no plans for what I'm going to do because I wasn't planning on being here, so I have no idea. I think I might work on the fuel pump drive area and distributor drive on the motor. I'll show you guys this stuff here in a minute, but basically it's a magneto type cam cover, but we're going to use it with a Dyna S ignition. That's how it was set up before, but all these parts were missing, the cam was missing and so forth. So if you've been around the channel for a long time and you followed along our King Tut build, we did this on our King Tut. Obviously there was no mechanical fuel injection fuel pump, but there was a mag drive, and then I handmade a whole what I call a distributor that has a Dyna ignition in it. So I did buy a mag drive shaft. It was in stock this time. It wasn't in stock last time, so I made the whole entire thing. Just trying to save some time and effort. So I'll show you guys all that stuff, and we'll talk about kind of my plan, and then we'll see if I'm not even sure if I have material I need to make the stuff I need to make. So again, super unplanned. I don't know how long this video will be, but I'm here, so figured we'd try and do something. So we'll hop over to the motor and see what we can't figure out. Alright, so this is our cam cover. You can see here where the mag drive would go. Let me slide this off. And you'll see we got our cam in, and then this gear, which is what's going to drive our distributor. So this gear will go on here, and then this through this hole. I'll show you here. Let's slide this back on. Get these out of our way before we screw those up. Okay, and then this is the little distributor drive I bought. V-Twin Manufacturing makes this. This gear will go on here and get roll pinned, and then the idea is that this slides in here and meshes this gear with the drive gear. So the first problem I've encountered is that this shoulder here is off dimension of this. So easiest thing to do to correct that is we're gonna take this apart. We're gonna put this in the lathe and machine this shoulder here to the correct dimension for a slip fit into here. So that's our first step, obviously, to get this fit. Alright, so we jumped out on the lathe, making a couple measurements, figuring out what we need to do to get this outside diameter on our timing unit drive housing to fit in our cam cover. And just going to go ahead and make our cuts here. It was I think like 20 or 22 thousandths we had to cut off, so made it in took 2 or 3 small passes. And to adjust my tool here. I'm using my parting tool to reach in and cut a square shoulder. Since it was such a minimal cut, I just needed to have a little more room to reach in deeper. So made the adjustment on that tool, threw it back in, and now we're going in to make our cut. Nothing out of the ordinary here, really. This is pretty simple stuff for anybody who's used to using a lathe. This was such a small difference. Honestly, if you didn't have a lathe, you probably could have sanded it and got it to fit, but having a lathe just makes this stuff super handy, so that's what we tend to use. Got our cut made, now just taking a little emery tape and smoothing that off.
that all done, so I went ahead and popped the part out, did a little test fit in the cover. Nice clean fit, dropped right in, and on to the next problem, which we discovered was the depth that the part slid into the cover was nowhere near deep enough to have the drive gear reach the cam gear. So tried to make some measurements. It's kind of a little bit of a tricky thing to measure, so started out the larger step shoulder. We're going to go ahead and take a 1/2 inch of that off down to our diameter that fits inside the housing. This will let the overall unit slide into the cover deeper, thus letting the drive gear reach the cam gear more. So a little bit more on that to come.
Alright, so we got our drive housing modified to fit down in our cover. This will take our gear here. This will get a roll pin once we do final assembly, but I don't want to lock it all together just yet. But I want it to stay on here, so let's see if I can find something to just maybe a baby zip tie. Alright, so stuck an old little carburetor slide needle in here. It's a nice fit, but it's loose enough that I'll be able to get it out real easy. That'll temporarily hold all this together. So it looks like we need to modify this a little bit more. See if I can get you guys a shot of what's going on. This housing obviously is what limits how far this drops in. And alright, so you can kind of see here where the gear engages, but I like the gear to be engaged a little more, so I want to get this thing to drop down another 1/2 inch, and that will get real good gear engagement and drive our timing unit nice. Alright, so we got our gear shaft cut down like we want. See if I can get you guys a shot of this. See the gear mesh. Yeah, actually you can kind of see that pretty decent. I'm surprised. Anyway, so there we go. Next step, we're going to transfer punch our cover so we can install the bolts that are going to hold this in.
Yeah, baby, next Saturday.
Alright, so next up we got to design the plate that's going to mount to this and hold our Dyna S ignition. So going to make some measurements, make up a quick simple drawing, and that we'll be able to use to machine our part. Alright, so my simple little sketch, start out with a 3-inch chunk of round aluminum 1-inch thick, and we'll machine up our pieces, and that'll give us what we need to mount. It'll fit on top of our cam cover here, fit on top of here. This will drop in through it, lock our gear in, and these 2 mounting screws will hold all this down. Then all we'll have to do is drill a couple holes for our slotted timing plate, so we'll have the ability to adjust our timing. And last but not least, we're going to have to modify the drive shaft here, which is a hex drive for magneto, to accept our Dyna rotor. So not overly complicated, but lots of little pieces to make work and have them work right. Alright guys, that's a wrap for today. Like I said, short video, wasn't even planning on being here. Didn't get a tremendous amount done, but got got a few things machined on the ignition stuff, and plan drawn up to make the next part, but I'm out of time here. Got to get out of here, go pick my daughter up, and that's it. So as always, appreciate you guys being here. Hope you're enjoying following along on the vintage fuel bike rebuild. I did get a set of rings ordered this week from Total Seal. That was an interesting feat in and of itself to get rings for these old pistons, but they are on the way, and we got the paint in-house for the frame, so hopefully the frame will get painted while I'm away on my honeymoon this week, and when I get back we'll be able to start putting some chassis stuff together along with continuing on with this motor build. So anyway, appreciate you guys being here, and hope to see you next time at Gattis Garage.